Hi, this is David Ross. I work in the Pac-12 as a backfish. I'm here on the Unofficial Lounge.
This is Gary Reed. You're listening to the Unofficial Lounge. Remember to serve the game.
The Unofficial Lounge with Ashante, Craybon, and Monty. We're here to give you the insight into some of the biggest plays you remember, involving the people wearing the stripes. We look at the grit it takes to become an official while exploring the history of officiating with the people who made it. It's more than black and white.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Unofficial Lounge, Season 4. And as always, we are blessed to have our returning, the mastermind behind Replay. And, what else do we say about the guy? He is the guy that knows it all. He has too many titles for me to discuss because you guys know I will mess him up.
And a Knicks fan.
Hey, you never know. They may be on their way to getting Embiid here soon. But please welcome back to the show, Dean Blandino.
Thank you for having me. Craybon, we got to work on that intro. You want me to write something up for you?
Yeah.
Please do.
We'll do that. We'll do that next time. I'll write it up for you.
Write it up. Write it up.
Read it. You can just read it. It's fine.
Yeah,
read it. You should have been on last night. Oh, he butchered somebody's name so tough.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like he's gonna be on a live mic coming up.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's gonna have a live mic, dude.
I don't know. Get it out now.
The good thing on a live mic, I don't have to pronounce anybody's name.
No, that's true. That's true.
I do not have.
You got to say the team.
Well, yeah, you got to say the team.
That I can handle the teams. But if I have a coin toss, with a special guest, there will be a little pet of the mic, like, "Ooh, what happened?"
Yeah.
So, but no, Dean, we really appreciate you coming on the show. We know this time of the year is a busy time. The season's about to kick off and everything. This is probably your last free weekend that you have for the next 20, 25 weeks for you in a row here. But we really appreciate you always coming on the show for us. And how about a great XFL season? We finished strong.
They completed one, Monty.
Hey,
give him a clap, Monty.
Man, slow down. Who running the show?
The XFL was great. What a great experience. Going through the whole season, seeing it through. Championship game. Everybody was really just happy. Great football. The officiating was great. Everybody was just really excited to get through the season and kind of see what the future holds, and let's see, move toward year 2 and see what we can do going forward.
Is there something that stood out to you this season compared to the last, other than just being able to get to the end? Is it something that stood out to you this time around compared to the other spring seasons?
Yeah, I think it was building on that momentum. You could feel it a little bit in 2020, and obviously the season got cut short. But to see the fan bases really embrace the team, especially in St. Louis and DC, and to kind of already have that felt like an atmosphere that had been going on for years, right? With DC, with the beer snake and the lemons, and you go to
what's the lemons? Whoa, what happened?
Yeah, so they were the first home game, they took away the beer snake. So the security at Audi Field took away the beer snake. So the fans weren't happy, and I guess they serve beer with lemon. Maybe it's like a Blue Moon or something.
Right.
So they were taking the lemons and they were throwing them on the field. So then it became kind of like a thing, and they were at one point the players were actually handing big giant bags of whole lemons before the game to the fans, and then you get in that end zone and the other team scores, and here come the lemons. So, but it got better as the season went on. The beer snake was alive and well, and it was just great. It was great to see that. It was great to see in St. Louis that city really coming together and 35,000 strong every home game. It was awesome.
Yeah,
So
Ashante, the lemons also came from the drink of the day was a hard lemonade, and they was just supposed to have slices of lemon inside, but it was either half or 3/4 of a lemon inside the cup. It was great throwing objects for them.
wow.
That's
So
when I was in
one thing,
Fresno. They stopped serving beer because they started throwing bottles.
yeah, that's a different crowd though.
Oh, it's a different crowd, baby.
This XFL is a little bit more sophisticated than Fresno. So one thing I did notice with the XFL was you became like one of the focal points during the game, because that's all I want to look forward to is just, okay, what was Dean's take, even though everything was live, so you can hear the officials and you. So that was great. Was that planned?
Yeah, that was definitely planned. I mean, that we knew we wanted that command center and that operation to be a big part of the broadcast and let people in and listen to the conversation. My thought process looking at the angles and the video that we were looking at, and we knew that was going to be something we wanted to highlight. And ESPN was great, and they really would let people in and see that process. And I think, look, you're not always going to agree with the call, but at least people had the opportunity to see why. And it was really positive. And I've said this before, it really was an opportunity to change the narrative around officiating. It's usually negative. And what we were able to do this past spring, it changed the narrative a little bit, and there was a lot of positive feedback and positive reaction to what we were doing. And as you all know, in officiating, that's not the norm, and that was a good thing.
Now, we had a bunch of different rules. The kickoff rules a little different than what everybody is used to, but one of the big changes that didn't happen that much, that I think only happened in one of the games I was involved in, it was actually the last game of the season, was the offense fumbling, going into score, fumbling out of the back of the end zone, and then the ball coming back to the 1 yard line instead of it being a touchback. What was kind of the feedback in the field with that after that? Because I believe it only happened at one time.
Mm-hmm. It did. It only happened one time. It was interesting because that's a rule that when it happens, people are like, well, that's not fair. The defense didn't recover it. Why should the offense be penalized when the ball hits the pylon versus just going out of bounds at the half-yard line? So we heard that feedback, and we said, okay, we're going to give the offense, treat it just like a forward fumble out of bounds in the field of play. But I think what most people get upset about is when it's the running back and they're reaching for the goal line, and the ball just happens to come loose at the last second and nicks the pylon. That feels unfair, right? To give the ball to the defense. This was a player celebrating early at the 7 yard line. And it's almost like, okay, I want that to be a touchback.
That's his fault.
I don't want that player, that should be a lesson.
Right. It's like the Leon Lett play.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's hard to say, okay, create different rules, different variations of the rule. So, I think we'll look at that, and maybe it's a combination, because personally, I've always been in favor of the touchback. Look, the end zone's different. You got to protect the football. Right. You put the ball in your opponent's end zone, there's got to be risk involved. And even though the defense doesn't recover it, you're going to lose the football. But I think maybe we'll look at kind of a hybrid where the offense keeps it, but they don't get it at the spot of the fumble. Maybe it goes to the 20 or the 10. So I think that's something we'll continue to look at.
There you go. How about the back of the end zone? You give it to them inside, side, get to keep it.
Yeah, sure. I think there's an opportunity there. But like Cravon said, it doesn't happen all that often.
Right.
It happened once in the last game. And so we had, that was the 40th game, and it finally happened. So, but you do see it. You will see it over the course of a college season or an NFL season. You see it a handful of times.
Right. And with that one, it was so big because of the whole playoff and point differential and all the other stuff that was going on at the time for a playoff spot. It just added to the play being, only happening once that whole entire season. So it was pretty interesting.
One thing I've seen from the XFL is that a bunch of the players have been getting picked up, and they've been doing a good job of showing that. I guess on social media, on the news, of their players are being picked up. So
That's really exciting. With the spring football and being able to get opportunities that maybe these players wouldn't have had, and to get looks, and to see those players get signed and picked up by NFL clubs, it's great. And we'll see. Hopefully, cuts are tomorrow, so hopefully we'll have some XFL players make the 53 player roster,
right.
and stick with some of these teams, which would be awesome.
Now, Dean, is there any big changes NFL wise, rule wise, or anything with fans wouldn't be prepared for this season that may have a good effect on the game that we watch on Sundays?
The big change was the NFL went to the fair catch on the kickoff, similar to the college rule, where if you fair catch it inside the 25, you'll get the ball at the 25. So, this was definitely not popular amongst coaches and players. And the league looks at this from a health and safety standpoint. And they track injury data every year. And the data is saying that the kick return has a higher rate of injury than other types of plays. So the league is looking at it two ways. Can we configure the play, the alignment, to make it safer? And what can we do to reduce just the number of kick returns? And that's the kind of where they are with this rule. 37.5% of all kickoffs were returned last year. That's historically a very low number. And I think with this touchback or this fair catch that ends up almost being like a touchback, I think we're going to see that number drop. And I think the league is, from a health and safety standpoint, okay with that. That if we have less kick returns, but then you think about what's the next step, right? If the injuries stay the same or they go up, do you go to a drastic change like the XFL kickoff,
Right.
or do you just get rid of it? And I think those are two real likely possibilities as you move forward, if the injuries continue to stay where they are or go up.
I would love to see if they just give the XFL rule a try, like in a preseason, even if it's like just the first 2 weeks of the preseason,
Sure.
just to give it a test to see because the caliber of athlete in the NFL, XFL is different. So it'll be interesting to see those type of returners, with that rule change. Would you get more returns, better returns without the injuries?
Sure.
Because you don't have the high impact hits.
Yeah, we may see it. Preseason, the NFL has experimented with different rules. We don't have the Pro Bowl anymore. We used to experiment during the Pro Bowl. That would have been an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see.
That's right. And my last rule question, because, we have the expert on, is there any major changes replay wise or rule wise you think that fans in college football, I know we have the timing rule that's going to be a little different. I don't know if people haven't done it in spring. I don't think it makes that much of a difference to me, but for a fan, it may feel that way.
I mean, it's when you look at it on paper, it's a big change, right? Because that's a rule that's synonymous with college football. It's one of the rules that differentiated between college and pro, is stopping the clock after a first down. And so not stopping the clock after a first down, except once we get inside the last 2 minutes, it, like I said, on paper, it feels like a big change. I think the reality is, officials were winding the clock after first downs outside 2 minutes pretty quickly, right? It was a couple of seconds, if that. So I don't know if fans are going to necessarily feel a big difference. The goal really, and you look at that rule, they made a change to not allowing a team to take consecutive timeouts in the same dead ball period, not extending the first or third period on penalties. So I think the goal is to reduce the number of plays, because when you look at the college game and you have games that are maybe 200, 210, 220 plays a game, that's a lot of plays. When you add that up for a season, and you play 12 regular season games, then maybe you play a bowl game or a championship game or the CFP, and that adds up for the student athlete. So I think if you can shave 6 or 7 plays per game and you multiply that by the number of games, that becomes significant. And I think that's kind of the approach that the rules committee took with those changes.
Yeah, because with the new playoff system coming in next year, a team can play 16 games, 12 in a regular season, a conference championship, and possibly 3 more games in the playoffs starting.
No doubt, no doubt. And look, FCS is already playing they're
been doing it, right?
They've been doing that. So I understand Cravon's more of a big time guy. He only focuses on FCS. But there are other levels of college football, Cravon.
I've worked them all.
Yeah, well, you clearly have forgotten where you came from. But that's all right.
It's been over 10 years, right, Cravon?
Right.
Hitting that mark, hitting that dime piece, huh?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, so I just came from there, so it's new.
But was there any thought of giving to just going ahead and having a 2-minute warning as well, so everybody knows, like, hey, it's the rule, timing, and stuff has changed right now?
That was definitely discussed, and because you look at the NFL, it's a built-in TV break, right? You know you're going to get it. It would allow the officials. I love the 2-minute warning, just because it resets everything. The officials can get together. Now your timing rules are going to change. You can kind of have that little conference and talk about timeouts remaining and everything else. Where in college, it's just rolling, right?
Right.
You go from outside to inside to, sometimes in the middle of a play. So I like the idea of the 2-minute warning. They did discuss it, ultimately didn't decide to make a change. And I think it's something, that if you continue down this path and you think about number of plays and overall game length, XFL, USFL running the game clock after incomplete passes right outside 2 or outside 5. Starting it on the ready for play. I think those are things that all could be discussed. And if you add a 2-minute warning, it makes sense because it gives you that natural break, and then everybody can understand that the rules are going to change at this point.
No, that was on the spring leagues. That was a big thing. Is they did televise that conference that the officials were coming together and talking about, hey, all the rules, timing changes and everything like that. I thought that was pretty interesting. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, that was great. Every crew, being able, and I don't think fans had any idea. I think they have no idea what you're all talking about on the field, like most of the time. And I think being able to listen, it takes some of that edge away from saying, like, what's taking so long? Right. What are they talking about? Because then you get a feel for, okay, they had to work through like 4 or 5 different things to get to, the decision. And I think that was the unique and cool part about what they're doing in the spring leagues.
It's funny though. I remember working a FCS team and when I did the power, working up in the pack, and the coach, when how the team, like you said, the officials came together at that last TV time. Coach was like curious, like, what you guys talk about, and I told him, like, that's good, y'all do that, breaking up the timing room. So they appreciate it from that standpoint. So it's hard. People don't understand, Dean. You work hard. You do XFL and this college stuff, which takes a lot of time. So how do you factor in, do all these jobs?
I come from, my time at the NFL. I'm used to the workload and the NFL. When I first started in the mid 90s, there was a real off season. It felt like an off season.
The late 1900s?
Not yet, 1900s. Exactly. Yeah, I heard that. They're calling it the late 1900s. That's crazy. So it felt like there was a real off season, but then as the kind of the NFL continued to grow and they started to create this calendar of events during the off season, and even in officiating, it's like you go, you're doing camps and clinics and quizzes and everything else. So I'm used to being busy, but I just love being able to do different things. And the XFL experience has been great in meeting new people and working with different officials and college football and helping people get into replay and learn more about it and what we do on Fox. It's just great. So, I love everything that I'm doing. My dream is I just want to be a ball boy for the Knicks. Like, that's the one. I'll leave everything. I'll leave everything for that. But I can't. Once I get that, then I'll give up the other stuff.
But wait, a ball at the U.S. Open or something.
Jimmy Butler just did that the other day.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler was. But wouldn't you want to be like a video analyst for the Knicks? You know, you want to have a job that matters. You can
He'll get
influence the
fired.
team.
He got an opinion. He'll get fired.
I mean, I think I'll do anything if I could just if my workplace could be Madison Square Garden,
You're
like
right.
80, whatever it is, 41, 42 home games a year. I'd be down for that.
You give up the sunshine of California to go back to the winters of New York?
Oh, they'd have to fly me. They'd have
Okay.
I don't think they're flying ball
still gonna
boys,
be bi-coastal. Still be bi-coastal.
let's not get crazy.
Now, Dean, you talked about it a little bit there, the camps that you attend and then getting different people involved in the replay. And I know it's been a mission of yours for the last few years to get, a little bit more diversity, not only, females, younger people, race, and so on. How do you feel that is going to where you really starting seeing a shift in replay?
It's, I think we've made tremendous strides. There's still work to be done, but I think back, we used to have a replay meeting, a national replay meeting before COVID, and we get everybody together in Chicago, and you'd have 300 plus people in a room. And if you look at that room 5 years ago, right, 7 years ago, that room today looks a lot different. It looks a lot different. And that's a positive thing. And when you think about, right, that diversity and people from different backgrounds and everything else, and that just makes it a better experience. We're not all looking at it the same way because we have different backgrounds, we have different perspectives, we can problem solve in different ways. So we're making strides, and it's great to see, and I'm on Zoom calls, every week with people wanting to get into replay and people who are doing replay. And I can see those faces every week, and it's changed, and the landscape has changed, and that's a positive thing. And we just got to keep working at it.
Do you feel the technology is keeping up with all of that, as far as giving us, the ability to have, even younger people in there, that haven't been involved in the game as in depth as some of us, like Monty? He's not one of those guys that did 20, 30 years and then came off, but
sure,
he did, 10, 15 years at the lower level and then moved into it. But then there's some people that have no on-field experiences now, Joe. Is the technology helping them with that?
Yeah, I think the technology certainly is a big driver. I mean, that was the reason replay came back to the NFL, because the technology had finally gotten to a point where you could do it efficiently and not unnecessarily delay the game. Then college football followed suit. And I think we have these young people that are working as whether they're replay technicians. So they're at the stadium. They work every home game for, Wisconsin or USC or whoever it may be. And North Dakota State, I want to throw in an FCS team. So but they have that technical background, and they're around it. And so they may not have 10, 15, 20 years of officiating experience. But when you think about replay, right, we can teach people the rules. We can teach people the mechanics and things. There is, though, that benefit. And that's why we want people with that on-field experience as well to transition to replay, because there's that comfort level of having been on the field and having that football IQ and understanding situational football and things like that. So it's a balance. And I think we can find good replay people from all different backgrounds. But the goal is, right, that technology is so important because you have to operate the system and you've got to be comfortable using technology. And those people that are successful are the ones that are able to transition and into a real comfort zone with the tech.
Well, but even with that, how do we get people into officiating, period? We're still struggling.
It's, it really is an issue at the lower levels and younger people getting in, because there is just, NASO does a great job, and they, a lot of outreach programs, and they do a lot of kind of polls and talk to younger officials. And it's the abuse that happens, and you get someone that comes in and wants to do it, and then they have a bad experience and they give it up. And that's unfortunate. So I think we've got to continue to educate. We've got to continue to work with our parents, our coaches, our athletes, and it's about that, that respect for the officials. And look, you can disagree with a call, but you do it in a way where it's not disrespectful, or even, unfortunately, what we see, it becomes abuse, whether that's verbal or sometimes physical, which is it's crazy to think that a game could create that, but it happens.
Now, when we talk about abuse, I mean, you are a Knicks fan, so you
Yes.
have gone through many of years of abuse.
It's not abuse, it's natural.
So how much are you hoping that Harden comes in? Harden comes into 76ers camp at like 400 pounds, so Embiid asks for a trade.
That's what I mean. I send Harden like DMs. I'm like, yeah, keep calling Daryl Morey a liar. Like, make that situation in Philadelphia so bad that Joel is like, I'm going to New York. Like,
just tell him to do some sit-ups like T.O. Just go to his drive.
That's what I'm hoping. Because look, if we get Embiid, forget it. It's over.
Stop worrying about the players you want to come there. See, you listen to Craybon, a Laker fan. Everybody wants to be joining the Lakers.
But Ashanti, at least we have teams. You just hate everything.
I don't hate
we have teams.
I stopped rooting.
You know
what I'm saying? But anyway, I didn't see Dean. You notice I didn't bring up your love for that.
I'm hoping the Milwaukee Bucks screw it up with the Greek Freak, so he wants out.
He's gonna stay in Milwaukee forever.
That would be great. Him in purple and gold. I would love that.
No one wants to see that.
But
anyway, let's talk back again. I noticed we was at the Pac-12 camp clinic. You had this controller that looked similar to another controller that so we joked about that was on the submarine. So did you?
Yeah,
is it a Logitech? What is it?
We've been using. We started. I mean, this goes back probably 12, 13 years at the NFL, and we had software program NFL Vision that you could look at plays, view, edit, put together playlists. And we were using, and still today, a lot of, most coaches use a coach's clicker, right? And you got to look down and fast forward, rewind. And we just had our IT group look at different controllers. They looked at video game controllers. They said, hey, can we configure this, the buttons, all of it, the bumper, the trigger, can you configure that to coincide with an operation like fast forward, rewind? And they were able to do it. And now, like, I don't even have to think about it. Like, I can run video, and then I can quickly shift gears and play Madden or Call of Duty.
Drive a submarine.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
I'm not going
there. Ashanti, it's a crisis, man.
Right. What's crisis?
Relax. Everybody relax.
Now, Dean, with that controller, you use that when you're on Zoom as well, when you're at home?
Yeah. Everything I do when I run the video, I use that Xbox controller. And it's actually been a real game changer, for me. And I couldn't go back to even like a jog shuttle wheel. You look at all the replay systems. The NFL uses all the the Xbox remote, and I think you'll see more college conferences incorporate that as well.
And with your Zoom setup, you have it pretty good compared to everybody else, because you don't share your screen anymore when you're on Zoom. You just flip to another camera that shows another monitor, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that was one of the things, obviously. And the Zoom calls were really born out of COVID, and we couldn't get together. And so I was just talking to different people and looking at different options, because, like you said, when you're on Zoom and you share your screen and you're running video and it's choppy, it doesn't look great. And so we just kind of came up with, let's get it wasn't rocket science. It was just, get a separate webcam and just face it at my monitor. And I just switch from one camera, the camera that's looking at me, to the camera that's looking at the screen, and do it that way. And it tends to work better. You don't have the choppiness, or the video is not as crisp as if you were in the room watching it in person, but it works. It works out pretty well.
Yeah, I saw that. It was like Transformer had a little arm that automatically rotated. I had to hit him up. Hey, what is that?
Now, when we talk about technology, a lot of us don't get to see this opportunity. Your studio in Fox. How
Yeah.
often do you guys have to update that technology? You know, because it's a lot going on that you have there, especially for your Sunday games. I have never been in there for Saturday, but even now going forward, you guys are going to have even more games directly on Fox going forward. So, how do you guys keep up with that technology there in the studio?
We just updated the room prior to last season. So yeah, technology is always changing, and it's always getting, there's always something new coming out, and so Fox just redid the studio, the space, and it's awesome. So we're going into season 2 of the new space and the technology. We've got Hawkeye coming in, and we're able to look at all the different angles during the game, similar to what you can do in a replay booth. And it's a great setup. And you always got to keep up with what's happening with the technology, because you want to be on the cutting edge. But with TV, it's the look as well. Like it's going out to however many millions of people. So it's really got to look professional, and they do a great job in the studio.
And on a regular weekend, how many people do you have now, being your eyes and ears on the different games now in the studio with you?
Yeah, we have there's 3 other people, including myself. So we have a producer, we have another kind of a spotter that works with us that is able to point out different things. It's a smaller operation since COVID. We used to have more people in the room, and we'd have one person kind of monitoring 2 games. So we definitely scaled it down. But it works. We've got, we could have anywhere from, 4 or 5 games going on at one time. And so we've got, 3 or 4 sets of eyes that are looking at things. And we tend to be able to manage the workload. So it works out.
Y'all using AI to
this is actually Dean's AI. He's actually not. He's out. He's in the Bahamas right now.
I was trying to see, you're always on the cutting edge. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. No AI yet. No.
Okay.
Allen Iverson maybe, but
Are you still as active on Twitter or the X, whatever we're calling it now, as you used to be?
I refuse to call it X. I'm not. I refuse to call it X. Yeah, I mean, we'll get going now that the season is kind of getting underway.
That's something to talk about.
We'll have like I don't really in the off season like XFL stuff, but in the off season it's I don't tweet about like what I'm
not tweet. Is it Xing? What is it? Is it
I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what they did, but now that the season's kicking off, it's great, and definitely the Twitter feed will really get active as games go on, and we had the preseason game last night, Texans and the Saints, the last preseason game, and there was a little bit of action. It's just the preseason, but then once the regular season kicks off, the Twitter stuff really, or the X stuff really takes off.
Now, we also had 0 week already in college football, and just watching some of the games and the stoppages with everything. When are we just going to get to a full coach's challenge to where replay don't have the pressure to, is this worth stopping? I mean, it was one game I was watching. It was first quarter. It was 3rd and 12. They called it complete. It was going to be 4th and 6. And they stopped it for possible incomplete pass, and it was no big effect. And I understand replay; it was tight, so I understand the pressure. I mean, college replay is a lot going on up there. I mean, just leave that to the coach, and we never will stop the game in that situation, most likely.
No doubt, and we've the last 2 years with the rules committee, we've really looked at this and really are pushing this to get to a coach's challenge model, because like you said, the replay official is responsible for every play of every game, and we talk about competitive effect, right? We talk about that play that you mentioned. If it's 3rd and 12 and it's a 6-yard pass and they're going to punt either way, is that the play that we're all going to be talking about at the end of the game that was the difference? And if the answer is no, then that's not, unless it's an obvious mistake, that's a no-brainer. But that's the one where, we don't want to stop that. And if we had a coach's challenge, now the coaches do get one, so they could challenge that. But if we went to a true coach's challenge model and just said, hey, scoring plays, turnovers, targeting, last 2 minutes, replay official will handle those. Everything else, if you think that 4-yard play is significant, use one of your challenges, right? Give them 2, or if they win 2, similar to what the NFL does. If they win both, they get a third. And I think that would reduce the number of stoppages, because that's what fans, it's not the overall length of the game necessarily, it's the number of interruptions.
Yeah.
And that's what fans don't like, especially when you're at the game. And that's where we got to continue to work with replay, that, hey, not every potential close play, right, potential mistake is worth a review. It's just not.
Yeah, as we see.
Well, slow down there, Craybon. Relax. You're getting up on us now. Back on up.
Hey, Monty still want to have a job, right? Monty want to still,
What I do?
You trying to take away
you encroaching on being offensive to my man Dean Blandino here. Talking about all these replay changes and how we need to get out of replay.
I'm not talking about getting out of it. We all know, as I was about to say, this offseason, how much TV drives everything now. Yeah. And TV is driving so much, that means it has to be the best product possible on TV. So I don't think it makes it easier for replay like you're doing less. But, I mean, Monty, you're in that replay booth. I experienced it once in college football. There is a lot. And now to try to put, advantage, disadvantage on top of replay is kind of, that's another questionable thing. Is like, okay, if they don't have to be bothered with it, it just makes the game flow a little bit better. That's all I was saying. I'm not trying to get rid of it.
The game flows well, Craybon. I'm just letting you know.
Well, you know who really is responsible for game flow, right? It's that white hat.
Right.
So,
yeah. Right.
So we're going to see how game flow and some Pac-12 games coming up here.
Hey, I will say this about you, Dean. The way you were talking in the XFL, you almost convinced me like you could put the white hat on. The way some you give.
Oh, I get absolutely. I won't call anything, but I will get on the microphone.
Yeah,
I will.
You like some of the announcements. You like they were saying it verbatim. I'm like, okay, they might as well just pipe Dean into the stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I won't. I mean, if somebody punches somebody, I'll throw a flag, but I'm not calling holding or anything.
But you announce it.
Just come to me, tell me, what do you got? Okay.
I got the rest.
Give me the foul and the number, and let me do my thing, right?
Okay. Any suggestions you can give me coming into my first game being the next few?
Well, I think a couple of things, like just the biggest thing that I've noticed, and you can talk to these, the referees that have done it for a long time and the coaches that have been around. There are certain referees, they may not be the best, from a judgment perspective, from a call perspective, but they run a good game and they communicate, and they're good on the microphone, and you just feel good about, and I always talk about, how did the game play on TV, right? That's I think it's important. It's important. So it's when you give off the vibe that you're not sure what's going on, or you're indecisive. I think that's where people start to lose a little confidence. And even if you aren't sure, or you have an official that isn't sure, you've got to really take that charge and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. And it's that just managing the game, being a good communicator and managing the game, because that's what people are really going to look at and go, and they're going to know that, okay, when Craybon comes in and we have him, we're in good hands. And there were a lot of referees like that I saw in the NFL. Gene Steratore was like that. Johnny Greer was like that, where they just ran a great game. And the coaches, they were happy when they had those guys on their game.
They're going to have to get over that name first, though, Dean.
Cravani.
Kralicious.
it's gonna be payback for all of the shows I've done. That it's now gonna be live and recorded.
And just keep the announcements. If you're at, we don't need any hockey announcement. I love it, but we don't need like a minute and a half.
No. Mine's gonna be nice and
short
and short. Nice and short.
Again, going back to your example, Dean, short and sweet. No, that wasn't a foul. Even because they had the challenge fouls in XFL, that wasn't DPI. Blah blah. Yeah. I'm like, wow. You had me convinced. I'm like, he been officiating for years.
Now let me ask you
this. I can fake it.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Dean, because this has been a big debate this offseason when it comes to me practicing my announcements. For you being, bro. No, this is good. This is good. For you on your side, on the TV side and everything else, do you like the official to say the ruling on the field has been reversed? Or would you just like it comes back from replay, reverse or confirm, just go right into it, not the call on the field has been reversed?
Yeah, I don't think we need the reversed or overturned. I think if you just come out and say after review, the pass is incomplete, the ball hit the ground, and then, it'll be 2nd and 10. I think that, again, just concise, clear. I don't think we need, we kind of got away from saying reversed and overturned and things like that. So just give that brief description. Look, confirmed in stands is easy. You don't need, don't feel the need to have to, explain confirmed or stands. Everybody knows what that means. They should know what that means. It's when you make a change that you're going to have to give that brief description. The benefit that that you'll have is you'll be able to see the play as what replay is looking at, and that'll help you kind of formulate what you want to say.
Right. I'm just waiting for this season for you to have to go on TV and review one of Ashante's plays.
Oh my gosh.
Now that's what I'm waiting for.
Well, you the one on the mic. He got you all.
It's gonna be a play at the goal line, and it's gonna be right there.
This official did a great job.
It's gonna be.
Oh no, not that. It's gonna be on the training tape.
This official did a great job.
When that training tape comes out,
it's gonna make like the Steve Shaw national tape. It's gonna be
right.
That Cravon, that right there. You want to avoid that tape as a first year white hat. For like a negative, like if you're not stationary making the announcement and you're moving around or something, he'll get you. So
right. I don't even want to make it for a positive. It's better not to be on.
Just to be off it altogether. Just
avoid. Just avoid.
Make that Fox Weekly tape that they put out. So
that's a given. The camera will find something, and we will absolutely put that on 100%.
Well, Dean, we always appreciate your time coming on the show, and please send me a little email, and I will make Monty go in and correct it so I can do the
we'll put
introduction.
So we'll put something together. I'll give you music. I want my theme music.
Right. Just hold up now. Whoa. Yeah. Come on, dude.
Yeah. It's always like introducing like the like when the Bulls, remember the Bulls and that music would come on.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, and now like we'll do something like that.
But once you do the 90s Knicks intro, no one knows what that is. Once you try to find that.
We just came in and kicked butt. That's all we did. Like literally.
That's came in and kicked butt.
That's right.
Well, Dean, I can't wait for you to come on up to my wine lounge.
I know.
PCA Street.
You know what we did? We talked at the clinic, and I had a group of friends, and then kind of it just fell apart. But I am coming up to the wine lounge after the season. I want to do like a Napa trip. I want you to show us around and do it up because the place looks great. There's always something going on there. I see on Instagram or something.
It's always something.
Always something going on.
Always something. So it looks like a good time, and I think that'll be a lot of fun.
All right, we got a bottle of wine right in the back waiting for you.
I got a question, Dean.
Oh, that's what. Wait. That's what. Can I get you ever go to those fancy restaurants? Cravon probably does because he's like that kind of. He goes to, but where they have. Like that, you have like a room, and they have their like celebrities, or they have like their own
private room.
The private room, but they have their own little locker, with their, a bottle of whatever their tequila is, a bottle.
Oh, you talking about like a mug club, like a private club, like a cigar club, huh?
Yeah, but it's not a private club,
Sure.
but in the restaurant,
You got
they
your
have
own
your own
locker.
little locker with whatever your drink of choice is. So that's my goal, to get one of those at your place.
Okay. I'll work
$2 Chuck on the way.
I'll work on that. We'll start with the wine. We do have a wine club where I send you interesting things every once a quarter, 3 bottles. So we can.
Oh, I want it. I'm in. Send me I want that.
You selling everything.
Man,
I want to be part of the wine club. Send me that.
Oh man, we've got world-class Pinots here, buddy.
Oh my
This
God.
is first.
Hold
up. It took Dean Blandino for you to say this. Me and Craven didn't know about this.
Oh, man, who cares about y'all? I'm talking to people who have a taste for fine things in life.
I have a sophisticated palate.
You can't even
twist
say.
off. Long as it twists off, I'm good.
I ain't talking about no night train.
Well,
But
once
absolutely,
again,
I'll shoot
Dean,
you a link,
Yeah.
Dean.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Wow.
as always, we really appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you throughout the season. Hopefully it won't be talking about Ashanti too bad during the season on one of his plays, but have a great season. Enjoy yourself out there, and we'll look forward to talking to you real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
I thought he was going to announce it, Monty. He's not going to announce it. He's going to wait till the off season.
That's
he's
gonna allow you to drive to DC every weekend to be the ball boy. That's
Right.
it.
Thought he was going to announce it, Monty.
But you have to drive. You have to drive. You can't take a flight. You have to drive just to be the ball boy.
He's looking for applications for those spring seasons.
Oh yeah. We got some openings.
Hey, it's me and Monty. We'll do it real soon.
We're duo. Dean Blandino, everybody.
Right. Y'all are terrible.
All right.
The next time you're traveling up the picturesque Pacific Coast Highway, join us for happy hour at PCH Street Salon and Wine Lounge. The heart of the Pacific Coast Highway is in Lompoc, California.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to please like and subscribe, as the Unofficial Lounge is available on all your podcast streaming outlets, including Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. We look forward to you joining us next time in the Unofficial Lounge.